Hi guys, we are back with the third part to the history of Power Rangers, and this is Cosmic Fury. So yeah, we are going to finish off the history, and yeah, so let's just go straight into the video. Don't forget to subscribe, click the bell button. Let's get it.
Zato is quickly using up what's keeping him alive. Pop Pop arrives with some gifts from General Shaw at Grid Battle Force. The teleporter device is used to transport massive objects like the Morphex towers. The new plan is to grab the Squidrill and beam it right into the local prison, simultaneously disabling the force field and freeing the other Rangers. Strangely, this is yet another opportunity for a Rick and Morty clip.
We just teleported into a galactic federal prison. I'm gonna go take a shit.
The problem is they need time to set up the devices without getting caught, so Zato volunteers to use his magic. Which, of course, Ion and Solon have a bit of an objection to.
It's been less than 5 minutes since we've learned that magic sucks the life out of you like a 6-foot mosquito.
Zato says that ultimately this is his choice and there are bigger things at stake than his own life. He also has them swear this to secrecy so nobody worries about him and they can focus on the task at hand. So anyway, about that distraction. Operation Growth Hormones is go. The plan goes off without a hitch, though instead of smashing the prison, it just disables its shields, and the Rafconians aid the prison break. The Rangers reunite and morph to fight Squillia and her Sentinels. With the force field down, our heroes summon the Zords and begin destroying Squidrills to cut off reinforcements. They capture Squillia and plan to interrogate her.
From one ex-bad guy to another. Not bad.
Someone else can take the next tentacle-related mission, though.
Oh, she was that kind of streamer, eh? Anyway, next up is Episode 8, Switching Sides. Zed is informed of Earth's ongoing liberation and Squillia's capture, and he does not give a rat's ass about either, since neither are relevant to his plan. Bagilia, however, is worried about her brand image if she doesn't go rescue her daughter, so is going to go retrieve her. Speaking of, our heroes try to use their Rafconian telepathy to glean her mind for information, and learn nothing. Sadly, while she was present around Zed a lot of the time, she was not paying attention to anything being said, only on her own vapid interests. The rest of our heroes return after successfully liberating several countries.
Kia ora, mates. New Zealand is officially totally free.
And free of Power Rangers, too. Apparently, regardless of the future of the franchise, production has officially left New Zealand after moving there in 2003. Billy contacts the others to inform them that the Mighty Morphin Rangers have been liberated and they're going to deal with the remaining Squidrills, leaving our heroes to ponder their next move. They want to free Ollie, which their current plan is to destroy his Dinohenge statue, severing his connection to the morphing grid, and consequently his corrupted energy. Ion finishes closing up his cafe until the crisis is over, when who should he run into entertaining people but Slither and Mucus, still in human form after the events of Dino Fury. He reads their minds to discover how they survived and how they have reformed. They were perfectly happy running their circus when Zed's invasion happened, destroying everything they built. Ion recruits them. Their shape-shifting and illusion powers will allow them to infiltrate Zed's base and get close enough to destroy Ollie's Dinohenge statue. Mucus laments that she wants to help, but the charm she used to become human has her locked in a human body she absolutely hates.
Nobody should have to feel like they don't belong in their body.
Power Rangers just said trans rights. Hell yeah. At yes, Simon Bennett confirmed that that's what they were going for. Honestly, they probably should have just said it outright. As I said earlier, there were people pissed about lesbians in Power Rangers and think that's grooming. Just go whole hog at this point.
I know writers who use subtext, and they're all cowards.
Zato uses his magic to restore Mucus to her mushroom form, causing Zato to yet again collapse. You know, the fact that Mucus could so thoroughly reform, stop being evil entirely, raises a lot of ethical issues about the Sporix beasts, what it means to be evil, and if it's actually possible for them all to reform. Is it moral to keep them imprisoned in their little gooey forms when they have the ability to change and giant robot fight go? Bagilia shows up at the warehouse to retrieve her daughter, but they fight them off and eventually turn him to dust. And I'm sure we'll never see Bagilia again. Slither changes into Squillia, and the two former villains head out to take a Squidrill, Mucus posing as Squillia's lawyer. Also this.
You gotta be fucking kidding.
Ion and Solon do a terrible job trying to deflect everyone's concerns over Zato, and when he awakens, he admits to everything.
Wow, they held the tension for a full second.
Nah, actually, this works out. Zato admits that seeing Mucus so uncomfortable living a lie was similar to how he was forcing his best friends to do the same by lying for him. He says they'll all get through this together, and we get a nice moment of a group hug before they get a transmission from Slither informing them that Zed's base is on Eltar. That night, the two villains sneak into the chamber with the Dino Henge statue.
As your lawyer, I advise we blow stuff up.
Mucus was the top student of Lionel Hudson Law School.
By hiring me as your lawyer, you also get this smoking monkey.
They set off an alarm by touching the statue, but surprisingly, the dynamite still goes off, blowing it up and reverting Ollie to his civilian mode. They beg him to switch sides and help, but that's not exactly on the table.
My lord.
Boy.
He says that they should suffer for betraying their emperor.
I'm not a lawyer. I need a lawyer.
I move for a bad court thingy.
Thus, we move into our penultimate episode, Master Plan. Solon has failed to find an alternative to reversing or recharging Zato, so they tell him not to use magic anymore to try to preserve his life.
I promise. I'm only going to do what's right for the team.
Zed contacts them to gloat not only that their plan to save Ollie failed, but that Bagilia has regrown. They're going to torture the captured villains, only for Ollie to turn his gun on them and warn the Rangers of Zed's plan, to turn himself into a Morphin Master. Unfortunately, Zed quickly recovers and blasts him back while cutting the feed. Zato says that while Zed couldn't destroy the morphing grid, he could sever the Rangers' connection to it and use its power for evil, so naturally they need to stop him. Amelia declares they're going to leave now to go stop him, but Billy takes her aside and discourages her from going right away. Earth has been mostly liberated, but Ranger teams have been fighting across the universe to counter Zed's forces, resulting in a lot of destruction and refugees.
Our forces are having to take them to New Tech City back on Earth.
And that, my friends, is our explanation why in SPD aliens are living on Earth in such large numbers. Bravo, Cosmic Fury! You didn't need to explain that plot point. You didn't need to make the story fit the future depicted in SPD, but you actually took the time to do so. If you're gonna have continuity porn, there's no better time than an anniversary. Anyway, Billy wants her to wait until the other Ranger teams are ready to assist. Hit him with an overwhelming force, but she insists.
I get what you're saying. But this rescue mission is the right thing for my team to do.
I really wish they had included one line here, again, for drama purposes. A response to that line with Billy asking, the right thing for the team? Or right thing for her? Sure, she's been able to power on through despite Ollie's mind control up until now, but now he's free and in danger. Plant the seed that maybe this rescue is more about her feelings than about stopping Zed. But in any case, they don't know Zed's timetable for absorbing the Morphin Master's energy, so it isn't necessarily a bad idea to try to stop him now.
As my mentor Zordon would say, may the power protect you.
And then he'd yell at us for breaking his stuff. They soon arrive at Eltar.
Zed has unique taste in architecture.
Actually, that's just the government building. They decided to finally drop the pretense. Inkworth, Basilia's butler, who's been barely a character up until now, grows giant to try to destroy them.
That fish is gonna get battered.
Tommy, can this fish?
Since it's the second to last episode and we need to eat through some footage, the Rangers combine all their Zords together to form the Cosmic Fury Ultra Zord to finish him off. It's kind of mad to me, not only because they're not all in a single cockpit, though it makes sense they wouldn't make a set for one for just a single scene like this. Anyway, our heroes storm the castle and free Ollie, Slither, and Mucus. Unfortunately, Bagilia set a trap for them. They're sealed up, the teleportation signal is blocked, and the place is rigged to blow in 20 seconds.
A countdown to destruction?
With no other choice, Zato uses the last of his magical energy to create a protective shield around the team. Zato is pulled back into the morphing grid, but Ion, refusing to let him go, has his consciousness pulled along for the ride. They head back to the base ship to plan their next move. Slither attends to Ion.
He could be dreaming, or something. I'm a doctor of circus, not medicine.
Don't worry, Mucus is a lawyer of circus too, so you're on the same wavelength. They detect the Master Captivator, but aren't sure they'll be strong enough to take down Zed, especially since they're down 2 Rangers. However, Ollie thinks they can use the element of surprise, since the villains must assume they're all dead, and combine all their individual weapons together, hoping that'll be enough. Zato's morpher, left behind after he became one with the Force or whatever, begins to glow blue, signaling that it's passing on to Ollie. Unfortunately, they're too late as they arrive.
The energy of every Morphin Master now resides within me!
Good upgraded look for him. It's basically taking the design elements of his regular appearance and amplifying them while adding some more regal qualities like the cape that resembles the Morphin Master's. He carves his letter into the cliffside.
A giant N?
What? No, it's a Z.
Oh, shut up, Lord Ned. Actually, he calls himself Master Zed now, and they try to use the combined weapons on him, but it does nothing. They summon the Zords to try to hit him with everything they've got, and Zed annihilates them each with a single shot.
If Dark Spectre could see me now!
Good idea. Does anyone have a torpedo designed to blow up a planet on them? Ollie and Amelia realize that since Zed now has the power of the Morphin Masters, they can use the Master Captivator to capture him just like the villains had done with the actual Morphin Masters. However, it seems they weren't the only ones with that idea. Bajilia and Scrozzle beam down and use it on Zed themselves. This had been Bajilia's plan from day one, and they intend to shatter the energy tube.
A wave of pure evil will sweep the universe, purging the cosmos of all that is good.
Can I just say, what an ingenious final plan for the villains for the 30th anniversary. Taking Zordon's sacrifice and the original Z-Wave and flipping it on its head to wipe out the forces of good the same way they were once wiped out. Oh, but it gets better, because remember, Bajilia's the CEO of a corporation.
And yes, this will be bad for workers' rights, but those of us in the arms trade will make bank.
I've said it over and over, but now it really is true. The greatest enemy of Power Rangers is money. For what may be the final season of the original continuity, they're fighting capitalism. Hell, they're not only utilizing the Z.
Maybe that was the point all along, right? But because we were young, we didn't necessarily understand. But maybe that's what the writers wanted to instill in our young brain is like, you're gonna now live in a capitalistic world. Good luck, kiddos. But before I warn you of how capitalist this world is, we are actually selling this, that, and the third. We are also selling our own merch and toys. So, peace, A-Town. Bye.
Z-Wave for this, but they were funding and promoting and merchandising Lord Zed for this whole thing. The villain utilizes the capitalistic exploitation of nostalgic imagery for their own greed.
Smart.
Message, Spock? None that I'm conscious of.
Man, I've got Star Trek on the brain for
Evil
some reason.
smart,
Mucus and Slither beam down to help the Rangers, while Solon puts out a distress call to all other Ranger teams in the universe to warn them of what's up. And this leads us into our final episode of Cosmic Fury and 30 years of Power Rangers. The end. Ion finds himself in a void, confronted by Zato the White here. Slither and Mucus attack in a stolen squidrill, saving our heroes. Bajilia summons her fleet of squidrills to blockade the planet and prevent them from escaping. In the void, the figure claims to not be Zato, that Ion's mind is just seeing what he wants to see. The figure does recognize the words Zed and Rangers, but he doesn't remember anything, only that the morphing grid has connected the two of them. The reformed villains try to clear a path for the Rangers through the blockade, but there are simply too many and they have to retreat to the Rangers' ship. Fortunately, help arrives thanks to Solon's Mayday. Billy in the original Megazord, alongside the Astro Megazord, the Galaxy Megazord, the Ninja Blaze Megazord, and the Beast X Megazord. I'm a little disappointed by these choices. Not that it isn't cool to see them all, just that given that this is supposedly the end of the original continuity, I would have preferred.
This is the coolest. I think this is the first one, right? This one looks like bedazzled, I don't know, Louis Vuitton, something. This one, I have no idea. This three on my right, like this 1, 2, and 3, they're cool. But this two, they're like, uh, hello. Yeah, this one obviously elite.
A representative from each era of the show. Still, point is, the squidrills are all being handled by the Megazords. Unfortunately, a Sentinel gets tossed into the Master Captivator, cracking the glass on it. While the Rangers have the thing, it's now only a matter of time before it ruptures. The figure is able to locate Zato in the morphing grid, but says that his mortal life is completely over. He says he can help in other ways too, but that also Ion's friends need him and he'll send him back.
There's something I used to say in times such as these. May the power protect you.
Oh my god, guys. I think it's Gosei! Fern suggests taking the Captivator somewhere where it can blow safely.
If it's anything like Zordon's wave, it'll reach every corner of the universe.
Yeah, I mean, after all, the Z-Wave certainly wiped out Scorpius, Lothor, the Trubian Empire, Moltor and Flurius, the Fear Cats, the War Star Insects, the Armada, Galvanax, Madame Odious, and about 50 gajillion other minor villains and monsters out there. And you know, some of those villains I didn't mention weren't affected because they were stored in other dimensional realms and whatnot. Surely somebody knows how to send it to, like, the Dark Dimension or something? Actually, they do take me up on that idea, but in this case, their choice is the morphing grid itself, which seems like a terrible idea since I feel like it could corrupt it and turn the grid evil, but whatever, they've got a plan.
There's only been one place we've been able to access the grid directly before.
The altar of Zornia.
What about when Beast Morphers access the grid directly for power or sending out distress signals? Or Hartford managing to send Alpha into the morphing grid? Sorry if I'm suddenly bringing continuity into this 30th anniversary season that features tons of continuity references. Anyway, they head to Zordnia, and Javi is prepared to use the staff again despite the risk. Ollie suggests that maybe the problem is that they need to share the danger, all together putting the staff in instead of just one person taking the brunt of it. Somehow, I feel like this will result in all of you losing an arm, but it doesn't matter for the moment because Bagilia shows up, having stowed away on their ship. Somehow, and like any real CEO, she doesn't know when to friggin' quit already. They blast her, but...
Are you kidding me?
And just like a CEO, to continue to ruin things even after they're gone. The Rangers try to put the staff in, but it's pulled away by Zato, who has become a Morphin Master. He brings them all into the Master Captivator to confront Zed. However, it's not to fight him. They're all energy inside of the tube, so this is just a way for them to communicate with a familiar point of reference. Zato explains to Zed what's going to happen with the tube, and Zed thinks he'll rule unopposed. But, of course, they point out that when this happened to Zordon, he didn't stick around after. This will kill him.
It's like you told me. No peace for the strongest. Only survival.
And thus the ultimatum. Zato can save Zed's life, but only if he relinquishes the power of the Morphin Masters, become what he was before. He refuses at first, but Ollie reminds him that there's no point in being this powerful if it's just gonna make him go poof. This is his only chance for survival, and he finally accepts. Zato does so, and in a flash of light, it appears that Zed has grown giant-sized and destroyed the Rangers, having betrayed them after releasing the power. However...
Zeddy? Huh? Would you shut your trap?
Rita! I told you not to bother me at work!
Naturally, it's all an illusion. They're back on Nibiru, the nightmare planet that Zato and Ion ended up on last season while retrieving some of their Zords. Zed will be forced to live out the rest of his days in this place until he's reformed. The same thing will happen to any other evil force that tries to rescue him. So couldn't they beam him up from orbit or something? Zato suggests that maybe Lord Zed can be redeemed, that even he's capable of becoming a force for good.
You want a straw, too? You're so ungrateful. At least you have lips.
The hero we always needed. The Morphin Masters aren't certain how Zato became one of them, but Ion speculates that the being he encountered in the grid probably helped to do it, though even the Morphin Masters are unsure of who that was. Zato says his farewells to them, as his time as a mortal is over. Our heroes head home, Javi performing a concert with a song called May the Power Protect You, which Billy thinks is cool since that was Zordon's catchphrase.
Javi got that from me. It's what the being in the void said to me.
Wait. What? You've got to tell me everything.
Santara gives birth to Amelia's sister and is named after Pop Pop. And with Zato watching them from the morphing grid, that's where we end it. And really, there's only one thing to sum up this season and the rest of Power Rangers as a whole.
Cool, coolio.
Power Rangers Cosmic Fury is very good. It is not great. I've discussed already the big problem with it, that it doesn't push its dramatic elements as far as they should. Now, I've heard that part of that is Hasbro's fault, that they insisted things can't be too sad, can't have characters too upset, which is a major detriment for narrative, and I would hope that they would see that going forward. Maybe that's why I had Star Trek on the brain. Gene Roddenberry had edicts in place during the early seasons of The Next Generation, that humans had to be perfect, no disagreement or arguments, no mourning the dead, because in his super special future utopia, humanity didn't do those kinds of things. And that frankly makes for boring-ass stories. But Cosmic Fury is not boring. In fact, one of the great things about this season being only 10 episodes is that there's a ton of momentum. You're never bored with the show because the narrative is always moving forward. The threat of Lord Zed, Ollie's mind control, getting stranded on Eridus, etc. And yet it doesn't feel like it's moving so fast that there's no chance for dramatic moments. This is the first time in a long while where I watched the season once before doing it again for this history video. It was that good. Mind you, again, having only 10 episodes helped a lot with that. While it wasn't a massively thorough revisit to every past Ranger season, while we didn't have tons and tons of cameos from across the franchise, an army of Rangers ready to stand and fight Lord Zed in a final battle or anything like that, it still showed immense respect for its past. It built on what came before, both in the ultimate plan of the villains, while also making sure we remembered that these Rangers were more than worthy to hold up the legacy of this show. I expressed after Once and Always my fear that they'd undo Zordon's death. And they didn't. We can presume the being in the void was him, but even if it was, that's not the same thing as a full-on resurrection to capitalize on nostalgia. It was our beloved mentor helping out the Rangers one last time from wherever he was, helping resolve the situation not with violence, but wisdom. And what a way to defeat Zed after everything that's happened. Not with guns, not with some MacGuffin crystal or a Deus Ex Machina special effect explosion, but by getting him to surrender. And nobody would have guessed that.
All-out destruction is rarely the most optimal strategy.
I applaud the risks they did take, the barriers they did push against with it. I just really wish they had gone a little farther with it because I know they could have done so much more. But even without that, Cosmic Fury is fun and interesting, with one of the best narratives of all to include all the team in some capacity contributing. This truly was a team effort, and although there wasn't as much character development with Izzy and Fern like was planned, the decisions they made still ultimately led to overall victory. Ion gets the lion's share of character development. Instead of being a goofball obsessed with food, having lost Zato only to get him back and potentially lose him once more drove him to be more serious, and his appeal to Zordon led to Zato's ascension and their salvation. Amelia steps up as a leader, not only taking charge and bringing order to chaos, but being supportive and helpful, like redirecting Ion from moping about their decisions to cooking food for them while trapped on Eridus. She shows how worthy she was to be in the Red. And hey, the first proper main character female Red Ranger, that's gotta count for something. Javi's plot was the one that could definitely have gone on longer and with more intensity, but ultimately it led to their recovery of the Dragon Zord in a goofy but oh-so Power Rangers plan. And of course, it was Ollie being evil for most of the season that allowed him to learn the lesson from Zed that got him to change his mind. From a behind-the-scenes note, apparently Kai Moya was unavailable for filming a lot of stuff with the others due to his own schedule, which influenced the decision to make him evil, and if that's true, then good job, production team. Once again, art from adversity, because that plotline was very enjoyable. Sadly, because Cosmic Fury was a non-union production, Barbara Goodson couldn't reprise her role as Rita, despite doing so for Once and Always. They got Susan Brady, the voice of the Mystic Mother, once again for the role. I have never been fond of her voice for Rita, but honestly, I think this might be her best performance as the role. Well done there. On that note, I've seen a lot of people confused why this would be Zed's hell, since after all, he did love Rita. He even grumbles about that to himself during this. And apparently they all forgot that these two bickered and argued and drove each other nuts all the damn time. They might have loved each other, but sometimes the people you love are the ones who annoy you the most. And sometimes hell isn't big tortures, but lots of little tortures continuously gnawing at you. And hey, just because they love each other doesn't mean they're good for each other.
Yeesh. Definition of toxic relationship there.
So, where do we go from here? Well, this might just be the end. Simon Bennett is no longer the showrunner and has declared that this was made with the intention of it being the end of the 30-year, mostly continuous continuity. There has apparently been an announced reboot being headed by Jonathan Entwistle and Jenny Klein, though production was slowed by the various Hollywood strikes of 2023. Supposedly, this reboot will come out in 2025. If this is the end, then they went out on a high note. Not the best anniversary, but better than some other endings. Then again, given how many times this franchise has declared its ending, I'm sure I'll see you next time in whatever Power Rangers series ends up happening. I don't know yet if I'll continue History of Power Rangers with the reboot. As I said in the RPM videos that I made back in the day, I don't like reboots in different continuities. I want the story to continue, to see the next thing out there, and this series began with my desire to share insights about the thing from my childhood, this nostalgia trip I was having. Obviously, I'll keep working to restore old ones, whether they got Content ID claimed or rewritten, re-edited ones with better quality footage, but this might be the end of History of Power Rangers, because maybe that story belongs for for someone else to tell. How this new reboot is their introduction to the franchise and they want to explore their feelings about it. But then again, I like making money, and History of Power Rangers has continually proven to be the most popular thing I do. There's a reason I have "When's the next History of Power Rangers" t-shirts. So I've made no decisions at the moment. All I know is that I love Power Rangers. I love Tokusatsu.
Hey, maybe
I
he's
love
gonna
giant
love the
robots, and I
reboot
love rubber-suited
if it
monsters.
happens.
Here's to what came before, and here's to what comes next. Forever and always, may the power protect us all.
It's kind of sad. I mean, oh, what is this? Let me know who your Power Rangers are. Is it all of them? All the Power Rangers that have come and gone? Um, or is there a specific like era that you are attached to? Or eras? Okay, let me know down in the comment. That'll be fun. And maybe I will keep, if there is a reboot, maybe I'll keep up with that one. Like, try to follow along. Maybe we don't know. But one thing I want to do is definitely go back from the beginning and watch everything, just so I'm caught up, and also it's gonna be fun, to kind of like bring nostalgia back. But anyways, let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments. Thank you if you've been joining our history of Power Rangers Cosmic Fury journey, and I will see you when I see you. Bye.